and raise a hullabaloo at the ball game today.
Hey everybody, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Today is Saturday, September 7th, and it's been an interesting card collecting weekend, and I wanted to talk to you guys about that as I've just arrived home within the last hour from I want to get the name right, the Front Row Card Show, which I call the Pasadena Card Show, which was in Pasadena, California. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. We also had a show in Long Beach that ended today. I did not attend it today, but I did go on Thursday and Friday. I want to talk to you a little bit about that. And I had this, as I was driving to Pasadena this morning, or this afternoon actually, I was like, I kind of had this whole thing planned out of what I was going to talk to you guys about. And I'm going to stick to it, even though I kind of had to move my budget up a little. But you guys know from watching my previous videos, 2 weeks ago we had the Burbank show out in Anaheim. And I bought a $450 card from 1882, Goodwin Champions card of Bob Carruthers. And I bought a 1968 Topps Hank Aaron in a PSA 3 for $50. Those were my two purchases. And I'm being transparent with my money because that's what I want to talk to you about today. And I spent $500 at that show. So we had these shows coming up this weekend. And I'm not one of those guys that buys $500 worth of cards and 2 weeks later buys $500 more or $1,000 more. That's just not who I am. I have a mortgage, and I literally just bought like a table for my living room this past week. I have house expenses just like all of us do. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that because in regards to buying cards, you don't always have to be buying the big cards to have fun. I have just as much fun buying small cards as I do big cards. I mean, yeah, it's really neat when you come home with a 1949 Bowman Jackie Robinson, but that doesn't happen every week. You might see some guys on YouTube that do that. I personally don't, but that's to each his own. But I did come with a mentality of I'm only taking $100 to these shows. So like I said, I went to Long Beach on Thursday and Friday, and today's Saturday, and I did Pasadena. And when I say $100, I mean $100 total, not $100 for each show. And I go, let's take $100. Let's see what happens. So the Long Beach show, I'm not going to do real reviews, you guys, just because I might do a mini review on Pasadena just because there is a show tomorrow there, but the Long Beach show's already done, so I won't be providing you like a bunch of information on that. But Long Beach show was pretty quiet. It's still one of my favorite shows just because it's in my hometown. I get in for free. I get to see my friends. It's pretty laid back. It was so laid back that you're able to sit at tables for a couple of hours, and you don't have just tons of people crawling all over you. Maybe that's one of the reasons I like the show. I picked up 2 cards, and I'm gonna like I said, I'll show you all my cards at the end. I spent a whopping $20. No. I spent $17 at the Long Beach show over 2 days. I was there for several hours over 2 days. So then I got in my car this morning, and I just like always want to get these names right. I went in my car this afternoon to Pasadena to the Front Row Card Show at the Pasadena Civic Auditorium. And I will talk a little bit about that. So like I said, I had $17 spent. Now I probably spent $3 somewhere buying a soda. So I showed up at the Long Beach or at the Pasadena show with $80. And like I said, I still had a good time, even though I had a good time. And I'll get to my little diatribe here in a moment. So I went to the Pasadena show, just some information in case you're thinking of heading out there Sunday. Tickets are $10 if you buy them in advance, $15 if you buy on the day of the show. Parking is roughly $15 if you park across the street. If you park a couple of blocks down, you'll get 2-hour free parking. For those of you familiar with that area, if you park like south of Cordova and east of Los Robles, that's southeast of the Civic Auditorium, you can park there for a couple of hours. Just set an alarm on your clock or on your phone so to go move your car, because Pasadena police will get you. But I didn't plan on staying long, so I only stayed 2 hours. I stayed literally an hour and 45 minutes and walked to my car. Just a heads up, this is for next time. They already announced, Front Row Card Show already announced new dates for next time. The next show is Saturday and Sunday, November 23rd and 24th. Tickets in advance are $10. I will say this, if you're thinking of going both days, and I noticed they did it today, excuse me, if you buy a ticket for $10 on Saturday and you show up and you give them your ticket, they will offer you tickets for Sunday for $5. That'll only happen if you buy it right there when you go in. So you could get into the show for $15 for both days. I was fortunate that one of the tables got me a free pass and I got in. I'll be honest, you guys, probably just because the show was so close to the Burbank show and the Long Beach show, if I had to have paid to have gone to that show, I wouldn't have gone in. But I will say the place was jumping. The show moved into a new room for the very first time, so it was a larger room with much better lighting than the previous shows. The previous shows, I kept waiting for like a DJ or a performer to come out just because it was so dark in there. This was much well lit. There was a lot of people, though. I will be honest with you. It kind of reminded me of being on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. There was just so many people, so many tables. If your feet are sensitive, there is no carpet, so there's concrete, so your feet are going to get tired. There is food there, you guys. There's beers, and I'll get to there was some vintage there. Not much. I will be honest with you, this is the first time I'm ever going to complain about a show. Way too much Pokemon. Just way too much. And if I turned off half my subscribers because of that Pokemon comment, I apologize. I'm just saying the truth. Way too much Pokemon. Pokemon people have a right to their own show, and I've seen that. I've seen Pokemon shows, and there's no sports cards there. I don't get why sports card shows have to have Pokemon, especially as excessive as it was at this show. So there's my diatribe. I did find several vintage tables. It was funny because ran into some buddies there. I ran into G's Mikey, and I didn't take any. And since I'm bringing up G's Mikey, I did not take any video. I wasn't there long enough. I was just kind of focusing on buying. But I'm gonna send you over to G's Mikey's channel because I know he took video. So check that out if you guys want to see what it looked like over there. So like I said, I ran into G's Mikey. I saw Mike Petty there. I got to meet him. Ran into my childhood friend Eric. We had tried to meet up, and here was the irony of the whole thing. When I get to this show and immediately I go, why am I here? We're in the middle of a heat wave in Los Angeles, where it's just really stinking hot. And I know a lot of you are saying, well, it's hot where we live too. And I get that. I just don't do well in the heat, and parking a couple of blocks away in the sun just kind of melts me a little. But I knew I wasn't going to stay long, kind of had an attitude. I'm like, why am I here? Why am I here? I had to give Eric some cards that I promised I was going to give him. And then literally he had to go move his car because he also parks on the 2-hour free parking because he does stay longer than I do. And I go, you going to go move it? He goes, yeah. And I go, all right. I go, I'm not going to stick around much longer. There's nothing happening at this show. Rick with all his attitude. And he goes, but you're going to be here a while, right? And I go, another 45 minutes tops. He goes, all right. So he walks away. And literally, the next table I go to, all of a sudden, I am $150, $140 later in the wallet. So with all good intentions of spending $100 this weekend, it didn't pan out that way. It was my total spending is $160. And I'm going to show you those in a moment, and I'll go into full context of what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to show you cards from the Pasadena show, the Long Beach show, and I do have some pickups from eBay that I wanted to share, just because I want to show you that buying sports cards doesn't have to be you buying a 41 play ball Joe DiMaggio or a 1957 Topps Mickey Mantle. It can be just buying simple cards. You can still have fun. And I know I did. I had a good time at the shows. I got to see all my friends, and got to see George and Levon over at Long Beach. Got to hang at their tables like I always get to. And I picked up some fun cards, and I picked up what I would call one big card, which was unplanned, and I'll tell you about that as soon as I turn the camera around, you guys. Thanks. I would be remiss in saying from my previous dialogue that I also got to see my friends Eric and Gloria at the Long Beach show. Got a chance to catch up with them, have dinner with them and George and Sebastian from Pristine. We had a good time Thursday night, and we got to see the Chiefs and the Ravens, which was a good game to watch. So I wanted to bring that up as well. So I'm going to show you first some pickups. And like I said, I want to be fully transparent on pricing, just because, like I said, I want to show you what I got. Now, I'm going to be awful with names on these first three cards because I have a really hard time reading the backs of these cards. But I picked up some 1950 Bowman cards. This is Maurice McDermott of the Boston Red Sox. Yeah, Maurice McDermott. And these cards I'm showing you, I got for $5 each. This is Bob Swift. Bob Swift. That's a good looking card. I like that stance. There's Bob Swift. And my last card is Earl Johnson. That's Earl Johnson. So these are three 1950 Bowman pickups, and I'm still around halfway through the set, but I like picking them up here and there. And like I said, guys, these cost me $15 for the three, and I like that because I don't always want to spend money. I've been buying some cards also from 1969. I'm trying to buy the World Series cards and the All-Star cards and some League Leaders cards. And I got all these for pretty cheap. I think this was a $3 card. Look at the names on these. Not one Hall of Famer, but 4 very good pitchers in their era. Denny McLain, Dave McNally, Louis Tiant, Mel Stottlemyre. At one point, these guys were all frontline pitchers for their respective teams. Tiant, I'll probably say more later with the Red Sox, but Stottlemyre on the Yankees, definitely. Dave McNally, he was with Jim Palmer and Mike Cuellar. McLain just came off a 31-win season. So this is a nice one to pick up. And this one, like I said, cost me a few bucks. And this is the pitching leaders from that time. And then I bought this one. I think this cost me $5.50. Home run leaders. Willie McCovey, Richie Allen, Ernie Banks. You know, there might be people out there saying, I don't have an Ernie Banks card. Well, get this one. It cost you all of $5. It doesn't have to be a major, you don't have to buy his rookie card or something from 1960. So here's Ernie Banks. I love these World Series cards. This one's Game 2. Tiger Homers deck the cards. Just like the look of these. And the reason I'm trying to buy all the World Series cards are just because they are cards I had as a child. Got one more, and that's Lou Brock leads off home run, starts the cards romp. Gibson wins 7th in a row. And that's off Denny McLain right there. I'm assuming that's Bill Freehand, the catcher. Look at the umpire. That's his chest protector. That's what they wore back then. This big piece of equipment in front of him. So those are, and they give you the stats in the back with the lineups. These are nice cards. And then the last card from 1969, you might get, I have a hard time with this card. Johnny Padres of the Brooklyn Dodgers and the Los Angeles Dodgers Won Game 7 of the 1955 World Series versus the Yankees. His last card is on the San Diego Padres. I did not even know he pitched for the Padres. But the Dodgers traded him during the 66 season to the Tigers. He pitched in 66 and 67 for the Tigers. Went to the minors in 1968. Can you imagine at that point of your career, he went to the minors for a full year. I don't know if the Padres probably signed him as a free agent. I know that Buzzy Bavasi, the former Dodger GM, was now in charge over for the newly expansioned Padres. But he ended his career in San Diego. All right, and then one more mail pickup? Yeah, I bought this from T206 Cards. And this is a 1955 Topps Hal Newhouser. And I bought this card because I am working on players that did not make it onto the 1941 play ball set. And this was one of them. And I already own a 53 Topps card, but it was ungraded, and I wanted a graded version for this set I've created. And I couldn't, the 40, he doesn't have many cards, but one of the cards he does have is a 48-49 Leaf. And that thing is like some type of super single print or something because it's expensive. And I go, I'm not doing that. So this card was a fun one to buy. This was $29.99, but since T206cards.com, there's a plug, they take $10 off your first order. I paid $19, free shipping. Yes, I had to pay sales tax. This card cost me $20. And he's a great player. He's in the Hall of Fame, and it's a fun card to have in my collection. And like I say, I like buying cheap cards, and I did that definitely. So with my mail pickups, we're talking I've probably spent all of $35, maybe $60, maybe $60. So then we move over to the Long Beach card show. I bought this 1969 Jerry Koosman All-Stars. I'm also working on the 1969 All-Star cards. Paid $2 for that. Jerry Koosman was a very good pitcher on his day. My big spend at the Long Beach show was this 1961 Topps Series 7 checklist. And this one features the high numbers from card number 523 to 589. And we got some semi-high numbers from 507 to 522. It's unmarked, which I like. And this card cost me $15. And believe it or not, that's the cheapest I have found this card. So that was $15. All right, so right there, that's $22. So I spent that's $17. So that's $17 at one card show. Now these cards I'm going to are all from the Pasadena show. I've left the price tags on there because I got them in a package deal. I did not pay the price that's listed on here. Here is a 69 Topps Brooks Robinson All-Star. He was asking $8. And then a Willie McCovey All-Star card for $4. And then I found another World Series card, Al Kaline. I think this is Game 5, but there's Al Kaline. So all these three were $17, and I was just going to make the guy an offer. I'll just see if he'll take $15. But as I started looking through cards, and here's where my $100, I was underneath my $100 budget for sure. But I'm no angel. So all of a sudden, when I was looking at other cards to see what I could add, I noticed this one card, and it was a card that I had been looking at on eBay for a few weeks, and I really wanted it, and this is the first time I'd seen it. And all of a sudden, I find this 48-49 Leaf Joe Gordon in an SGC 4.5. And I was like going, oh boy. I go, I want this card. This is a card I want for the 41, for the guys that didn't make it onto the 41 play ball set. I also do not own any Joe Gordon cards in my collection. And he did make it to the Hall of Fame. And I wanted this one represented. I wanted his card represented in my collection. So here's where, you start going, well, I only bought this much money. And I had heard the seller say he accepted Venmo. So I started thinking about it. And, so I have all these 4 cards. And the money wasn't an issue. For me, the money was more along the lines of, well, the cards that you were thinking of buying next week from Greg Morris on eBay, just lose those. I'm going to lose those bids because they're all low. And that was the money I was going to spend for next week. I go, just use next week's money to pay these guys off, and let's see what we can do. So I went up to the guy and to the seller, and I said, okay, what do I have here? 9, 17, $167 worth of cards, his price. I just flat out said, will you take 140 for the group? And he said, yeah. So I was like, yeehaw. Paid him off, thanked him, shook his hand. Every time I make a sale or a deal, we shake hands. And I walked off with cards. So that was I had a budget of 100. I ended up spending 60 more, which I'm not proud of, but sometimes it's not like I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on a card. I just picked up this very nice Joe Gordon card. So those are my pickups from the past 2 shows, and also from some mail stuff. I'm expecting some mail order stuff to arrive in the next week or so. So I'll probably do a second part here of buying cards just on a lower budget, which can be fun too. All right, you guys, if you stuck around this long, thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.
It's a beautiful day for a